The college football experience, Mississippi State, Hail State 2024 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times the amount of money you enter with their brand new Pick 8. Yes, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash, folks. So what are you doing? Hop on over there, underdogfantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN, and they certainly have college football action. So check it all out. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. That's RITHMM. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
College football experience, Hail State 2024 edition. Yes, and I'm excited to talk Mississippi State Bulldog football. As you know, obviously we had the intro there with Mike Leach, who was a friend of the program. Rest in peace to the great Coach Leach. But I've always kind of had there's something I like about old Mississippi State football since way back in the days. When I first started getting into college football. So big year, obviously the SEC, no SEC East, no SEC West, getting rid of divisions. You add in Texas and Oklahoma, 12-team playoff looming, a lot of great stuff. And they go out and hire Jeff Lebby. We'll talk about that in a second, but perhaps you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to. And that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, AKA Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Hail State. All right. Hail State. Hang on.
Pulling out the cowbell.
Let's go. Hail State. All right.
Yeah.
They might have moved the Egg Bowl. They might have moved the Egg Bowl to a Saturday or no, Black Friday. Hey, look, Egg Bowl is Turkey Day football. The fuck you doing, TV execs? We want the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving. Flag on the play with moving this shit. Anyway.
Not only that, it's during the day.
What the hell are they doing touching my sacred Egg Bowl?
I love the Egg Bowl, especially late at night on Thanksgiving. You're already drunk. You're hungover. And I want to see some violence, and you're going to see it at that Egg Bowl.
Dude, look. Let's talk about this for a second. I got to introduce you in a second, but no, I'll introduce you. Give it up for the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, which you should be subscribed to. You've heard him also on the UFL Gambling podcast, and the Sports Gambling podcast. He's known as the Bet Detective, aka Scumbagger Vance. Give it up for CJ Sullivan. How you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. Glad to be back on here. Another team preview. The word. I mean, the streets was asking for it. They wanted this tandem to come up, hook up, and get into it. And I knew you would love Miss. I always had an affiliation from Mississippi State as well. Any kind of little brother complex for in a dirty, filthy, just absolute mudslinging state like Mississippi.
Jackie Sherrill.
Yes,
I like his story. As he planted a bunch of trees by that stadium there in Starkville. He said, Ole Miss is spying on us. Put some of these big ass trees. All right. Make sure no one can see our fucking plays. All right. But look, there's a lot of hype on the game, Ohio State, Michigan. I watch it every year. Love the rivalry. A lot of hype behind the Iron Bowl, Army, Navy. I love all these rivalries. But one of the low-key, filthiest, great rivalries, there's three that really come to mind. And that I think are underappreciated from a national standpoint. And this is how you can, in a way, you can kind of know if someone loves college football or not. If they know that they have to watch the Backyard Brawl is one, West Virginia Pitt, where they fucking hate each other.
Yes.
They like, it's just a low key underrated rivalry. The Holy War, BYU, Utah, I think criminally underrated, and the Egg Bowl. The Egg Bowl. It's a perfect rivalry. It should never go away. It should always be on Thanksgiving because how many people really want to watch the Detroit Lions? You know what I mean? Like, okay, they made the playoffs last year, but they've been horrible for a long time. The Egg Bowl is one that I always look for. They used to give us Texas A&M some on Thanksgiving or Black Friday. They're not doing that either. They give us Memphis Tulane. Come on.
We used to get Nebraska, Colorado. I mean, it'd be great, but it has to be at night. This Egg Bowl too, because it's those three rivalries you just mentioned. This one I think it's beyond animosity. I mean, there's pure violent hatred they have for each other. And it's great, and like you don't know if it's going to spill into the stands. The stands are going to spill into the field. It's like watching Last Chance U or something, but like in a much better level. And I love it. And so I wonder if pushing it to Black Friday in the afternoon is almost a safety hazard, for crying out loud, like a precaution.
Horrible though, man. It is
terrible.
You know what it's like to me is like Cincy Xavier in college basketball, where it's like they just fucking hate each other. They're located in the same, Cincy Xavier same city, but this one is same state.
Yeah, but we all know what Xavier's full of, according to Bob Huggins.
You gotta have to Google that one, but
I don't get breaking the head cold, but they're counting down.
So it's a new day and age for Mississippi State. You look back at last season and Zach Arnett. I wish I could have been able to place a phone call to Coach Arnett because, I thought he was crazy to try. I understand that he was given, I think it was a 2-year contract, but the buyout was like, $10,000 or something, like something ridiculous. So
didn't even last a full year. Right?
Yeah. Well, he didn't. And, he gets thrown to the wolves in a way with obviously a tragic situation with our friend Mike Leach passing away. And
of course,
and I think he's a good football coach, especially on the defensive side of things, which is his specialty. But Zach Arnett said, I'm going to ditch the air raid and I'm going to run the hell out of the rock, which you don't have the personnel to do that. I thought that was a crazy mindset to do that. Like in one quick season, if you had gotten like a 4 or 5 year deal, then do it. But knowing that you had a short leash, I thought it was absolutely crazy considering the personnel you had. And obviously you look back at a season ago and they were 5-7, and probably you can make the case that they probably should have been 4-8. That Arizona game, if you watch that game, they were able to beat Arizona. They started out 2-0, and then it was just rough seas after that. Now they go out and hire Jeff Lebby.
You know where Zach Arnett went, though, of course, obviously, college expert. I don't have to tell you. He joined Lane Kiffin's crew over there in Ole Miss. Well, so he'll be sitting there for that Egg Bowl, get some more inside rivalry going on now.
And Zach Arnett, like I said, I think he's a really good defensive coach. He was great at San Diego State. I thought he did a good job with Mississippi State when Leach was the head coach. But obviously not ready to be a head coach at that level, in my opinion, or on a 2-year deal. Maybe he can get a group of 5 job or something and work his way up. But yeah, that does spice up the rivalry a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's tough situation. Tough situation, and he made it tougher by getting rid of the air raid and Leach off it and just trying to run about. It was just bizarre. But yeah, he didn't stand a chance really. But yeah, I like him going over to Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, it just helps the rivalry a little bit. Just a little bit of spice added there. But Jeff Lebby comes in, obviously, and we should mention he's the former Ole Miss OC. Just a couple years ago, I think 3 years ago was the Ole Miss OC. So, I like their idea. Kiffin was 3-1 against him, during the Leach Arnett era. He was 2-1 against Leach. But Leach did get, Leach's final game he coached was an Egg Bowl win. against Lane Kiffin. But I kind of like that idea of saying, hey, let's go get. Who cares about what we're talking on a national level? Let's get the guy that knows the way. That basically is like this. Jeff Lebby's interview, he goes,
because I understand how the bastard thinks. I taught him. Now I own one.
And so, that's what he was thinking. And Hail State brings him in. Now, look, say what you want. Lebby has had some fire offenses. He's had UCF in a top 10 offense. He had Ole Miss as a top 10 offense back when they had Matt Corral, who's in the UFL now. And then at Oklahoma, I think they were the 3rd ranked offense in the nation last year.
Oklahoma's offensive coordinator with Gabriel out there, and he's out of all these things you're mentioning. He was a quarterback whisperer, if you will. I mean, he was great with these quarterbacks. So,
Mackenzie Milton, that was Jeff Lebby there. Now. He was an Art Briles guy when they had RG3 and Bob Stoops, and so he was at Baylor when Ken Starr was running things.
There was some shenanigans afoot.
But what do you make of that hire? I mean, I like them going back to the offensive side of the ball in a way because I feel like a lot of the personnel that they had, but they did lose. Nowadays, when you lose a coach, your whole team leaves. So
they didn't add too much either, but they got some. But I like the hire. I mean, they needed a fresh start, and this was exactly what this is. They needed to tear that page. There's a clean, fresh start. He's a hot, commodity. His first stint as a head coach, but he's been a great coordinator. Quarterback whisperer said we're going to bring back that offense. The defense will be a problem, but you got to be excited for Jeff Lebby.
Yeah, and I'm going to make the play that the SEC is the old Big 12 now. When you really think about this,
okay.
You got Oklahoma coming in with Seth Luttrell now, who's the OC, who runs. Seth Luttrell's a Mike Leach former fullback. They're going to be running the air raid.
Yep.
Jeff Lebby is running the veer and shoot, which is the Briles / Leach, a little bit of both in there, but stretching it more vertically. Josh Heupel runs that at Tennessee. He's a former Oklahoma guy. Kalen DeBauer comes in running air raid, right? And the whole damn conference, it's offense, and it's going to be interesting to see. With the exception of like Georgia, you have these elite offensive coaches, so a lot of fireworks there. I don't know. I like the hire too. They're going to play quick. They're going to play fast. If you're not familiar with Lebby's teams, they play super quick, almost Chip Kelly-esque, and one of the things I talk a lot of trash about Lebby. I'll be honest. I hate the evolution of his offense. With Dylan Gabriel. So Oklahoma lost to the Red River Shootout 2 years ago, 49-0, because they didn't have Dylan Gabriel that game and they didn't have a backup that was any good. And the game prior to that, they were playing TCU, and Gabriel got knocked out because, in my opinion, Lebby coaches this. You saw this at UCF, and it started to drive me crazy with Mackenzie Milton. The abrupt slide, the design quarterback draw, abrupt slide to get the 15-yard penalty, right? And it works all the fucking time, and it drives me absolutely crazy because I get it, it's within the rules, and you're abusing the rules to me on this, like the safety precaution. But TCU, one of my favorite moments in college football over the past few years, TCU's guy was like, hey, I'm just going to blast Dylan Gabriel with this abrupt slide, because it's hard to know when you're going to slide because it's super quick, right? And they knocked Dylan Gabriel out of the game for that TCU game. TCU blew him out the rest of the game. And then, Oklahoma got whooped by Texas. It drives me crazy watching the offense because I saw it last year doing the same thing, and it's like they keep throwing these flags on this. But I think he's pushing the envelope to me on like, I do think there's an edge there, but it drives.
You're saying he coaches them to draw the contact, get to the line.
I'm just saying Dylan Gabriel, who came over from UCF, and they did it a little bit at Ole Miss with Matt Corral, where you run and you do a quick abrupt slide where the defender
that's quite an accusation you're slinging out there at these guys.
Oh yeah, let's go. But I mean, look, he's had top 10 offenses every fucking year, but it drives me fucking crazy in that regard because I think that should be illegal.
Yeah, I agree, but
Yeah.
I don't think you have to worry about that this year with Blake Shapen. I don't think he's going to be doing any slides, and he's going to go down, but it's going to go down in the pocket.
Yeah, let's talk about the offense because
Yeah.
you know, they were 105th in scoring per game. Zach Arnett, defensive coach. We're just going to run the ball 3 yards, cloud of dust.
Mhm.
But all you have is a bunch of pass blocking, offensive linemen. We're going to run the ball 3 yards, clouds of dust. They were 14th, dead last in the SEC in scoring per game. 101st in yards per game. That was 12th best in the SEC, which there were only 14 teams a year ago. 109th in pass offense. That's crazy. They went from like top 5 to 109th. 13, and they had the same personnel for the most part. 13th in the SEC. So second to last, and then 79th in rush. You know, they made a big attempt to run the ball more. 146.8 yards per game. That was 9th best in the SEC. So it was a disaster, really, when you really think about it. And how about this? When you look at returning starters on the offensive side of the ball, and let me just bring in John Calipari to talk about this.
And you know what? I'm jacked about another opportunity. I'm like, let's go. Now, I met with the team. There is no team.
Jeff Lebby, 0. It's not often.
Yeah.
It's starting to become more often, I feel like, maybe with Colorado and Coach Prime last year. But even he had like 2 or 3 returning starters on the offense. They have 0, absolutely 0 returning starters back on the offensive side of the ball. Okay, good luck. And let's talk about the portal because Will Rogers State Park is now at Washington.
Okay.
He transfers out to the runners up in the national championship to go with Jed Fish and company. And then Mike Wright, who previously started at Vanderbilt, he transfers out to Northwestern. 2 quarterbacks with experience. I actually thought Mike Wright might have fit Lebby's system all right. I would have stuck around if I were him. Running back Simeon Price heads out to Coastal Carolina, and running back Woody Marks heading to USC. Jacoby Belazard heads to Grambling, a wideout, and Nakai Poole to JMU. Xavier Thomas was a stud for them.
I was just going to say Xavier Thomas is the only name that pops out to me here that really hurts.
Marks is solid too. Marks is solid.
Yeah, Marks is solid, but they lost both receivers. They lost Xavier Thomas and was it Latidrick Griffin went to the NFL?
Yes, he left for the NFL, or didn't leave. I think he just graduated. But right. Justin Robinson also heads out to West Virginia. And then the offensive line took some hits. Jaden Hobson to South Bama. Percy Lewis to Auburn was a big loss. Stephen Lasoya to the Vanderbilt Commodores. They also lost tight end Rylan Goad to Georgia Tech. And their kicker and punter, not that they were starters. The punter, I think, was. But, I mean, you're bringing in a whole new roster, man. I don't
roster. I actually think their O-line is going to be a kind of a strong suit, though. I liked who the guys they brought in. Yeah, they lost all those guys, but their O-line coach is good there, Cody Kennedy, and he stocked them up with.
And Lebby's running the offense. He's the OC too, head coach, OC. Now they did bring in some nice talent to me. Let's talk about this. Blake Shapen at Baylor. Now this was surprising to me. I did not see when I heard Lebby took the job. I thought Mike Wright might stick around. I knew Will Rogers was not going to be the guy. But I thought they might try to be active in the portal and bring in DeQuan Finn from Toledo, who ended up at Baylor, ironically, or some other super mobile quarterbacks that are experienced. Shapen one was very surprising to me. So, but Lebby's got a track record of working with good quarterbacks, so maybe he sees something I don't see.
I mean, well, he was all conference 2 years ago. He was kind of injured last year. He was having a decent year. He got banged up.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying I didn't think he fit exactly that offense. You know
he's not mobile. He's not mobile. That's for sure. But he's produced at Baylor. Granted, it was a couple of years ago.
Won a Big 12 championship. Yeah,
absolutely.
Devon Booth is a stud from Utah State. We'll see if how he plays in the SEC level, but I liked him at Utah State. They brought in Trent Hudson from New Mexico State. They beat Auburn last year, and that's a nice get. And this one I like a lot. Kevin Coleman. I thought Louisville would utilize him a little bit more than they did. He was previously at Jackson State with Deion Sanders. I like that get.
He's a great slot receiver. He'll be he'll be a pure volume guy.
And then this guy, I played him a lot in those Conference USA DFS slates on Tuesday and Wednesday. Kelly Akharaiyi.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Try make the attempt. Akharaiyi, I'll see you later. But anyway, he's a speedster. 21 and a half yards per catch last year. We went to El Paso, right?
Yeah, and I kind of think that this will be a fun watch. You know, the offense getting Coleman. They got some talent. Even the tight end from Buffalo was a like they were high on him coming in. We'll see. Buffalo to the SEC is a big gap. A tight end Cameron Ball coming in from Buffalo. Also Justin Ball coming in from Vanderbilt at the tight end. Offensive line, you were alluding to. You like some of the moves they did. Ethan Miner coming in from North Texas. McKylan Pounders from the Memphis Tigers,
returning home from Mississippi, hometown boy. He was great at Memphis. He keeps. I mean, he's going to be good. Yeah, he was a big get.
Yeah, Marlon Martinez coming over from LSU and Brian Kelly and his family.
Yeah,
and Jacoby Jackson from
also
Texas
good.
Tech with the Red Raiders. Yep. So they did solidify some spots there. But you still wonder. That's a lot. That's a damn. You just brought in a brand new offense, like a whole new team.
Agree.
I don't know. Like I think they'll be good because Lebby, I think, truly does know how to light it up offensively. I do worry about depth, though. That's
a fair point.
Shapen was injured last year, and Lebby likes to do that quarterback draw shit. We'll see if he does it. With Shapen,
talking those pre-slides.
Yeah, and I don't know. You think? I mean, obviously the offense will put up better numbers than Arnett's era, but I don't know if it'll be on Leach's level this final year in year one. Eventually, I think he'll get there. Lebby will, but. What do you think the offense will do this year?
Well, like you said, it's definitely going to be
better than last year.
Yeah, it's going to be better than last year. The tempo is going to be much better. It's going to look better. I mean, it's going to take some adjustments, but they're going to have. I mean, with Kelly Akharaiyi, they're definitely going to have some more big play explosiveness. I'm excited for them, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to compare to last year, going back to the old drawing board.
Yeah, and shout out to the chat,
Sven.
Oh man, saying Hail State from Berlin, Germany.
Yes, sir.
What the hell's? I appreciate that, and I love. We had Helsinki, Finland in here for the LSU preview, and Manitoba, I believe. You got these SEC fans; they're everywhere, man.
Everywhere. They're in Germany. They're getting a schnitzel, a giant pretzel, and a sex dungeon, and they're locking under listening to some Mississippi State previews. I love it.
Amen. He says they need one or two recruiting classes to get it done after last season. So
for sure, it's not going to happen exactly this year. But
let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Last year they were pretty decent, because that's Arnett's specialty. 66 in scoring defense, 26.6 points per game, 10th best in the SEC.
Yeah.
And 40th in yards. Only gave up 350.6 yards per game. That was 6th best in the SEC. By definition, that was one of the better defenses in the SEC. 34th in passing, only giving up 204.7 yards per game. Once again, 6th best in the SEC, and 51st in rush defense, 146.8 yards per game. That was 7th best in the SEC. So, I mean, but here's the problem. He's gone. That system's gone. And guess what? They only bring back 2 starters. So 2 starters back on the entire team.
Yeah.
That's defensive end DeMonte Russell and safety Corey Ellington. I know that they're bringing in a new DC. But I mean, he's got his work cut out for him. Because,
Coleman Hutzer, is that the coordinator?
Yeah, coming in there, and I just think you got your work cut out. You got a brand new roster again. So.
I like that Corey Ellington though. He came on towards the end of last year. He started about 7 games last year, played in all 12, and then he had a big egg bowl. That's all that matters to me. He had 12 tackles in that game. I kind of gives him the confidence coming in. He's a senior. I think he's gonna have a big year actually. And I think the defensive numbers are pretty solid mid range, but that secondary was a problem last year at times. I mean, definitely cost him some games. But like I said, not too many returners, but. They didn't even bring in too much too. You can get to that. I know that. At least like in upper level, you know what I mean.
Savain Merketzi Imina. It just means more in Finnish.
There's old Feach. Look, shout out to Feach.
And Drip Tona says he's not much of an SEC guy, but huge. Oh, he's a Tar Heel fan. They might be in the SEC when it's all said and done. So beware what you wish for, Drip Tona. And Saven's saying they doesn't expect much. They lost the top linebacking duo in the NCAA with Watson and Johnson. They had a combined 700 tackles.
Yep.
They went out.
Jeff Johnson.
Yeah. And look, they lost these guys in the portal. Jakarius Clayton to Marshall, Jonathan Davis. Southern Miss just came in and says, "Hey, we'll take all the guys that can't cut it. Just bring them all down to Hattiesburg at the Rock." They got that Brett Favre blood money down there.
They do have some blood money.
Jonathan Davis, Caleb Bryant, and Avery Sledge all going to Southern Miss. Trent Singleton to South Bama. Jamari Brown's in the portal. DeCarlos Nichols hit a defensive back heading over to USC as well. And Will James, also defensive back, going to Southern Miss. I don't know what to make of like I said, the defense. They went out, they brought in some guys. I'm gonna let you pronounce the first guy's name from Purdue that's coming in, because you said you were familiar with his work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was Sullivan Kapaka for Purdue. You got to get out of Purdue with a name like that. There's no way you can fucking blend in with the pilots up there in Indiana.
You imagine going out to eat?
Yeah, right.
You're meeting a girl at a bar in fucking West Lafayette. Just tough.
Table for two for Kapaka.
Look, in Mississippi, that works.
Sure,
you're close. You're close to Louisiana. Got the French names. And
yeah,
shit,
nobody
you know
nobody understands what anyone's saying.
Yeah, that's
there.
what I'm saying. Mississippi, it's
yeah.
just like whatever. All right.
Moving down the line, I like that Stone Blanton though from South Carolina. He's gonna be he's actually a good linebacker. He'll probably be. He'll jump right in there and be the heart and soul. He's gonna have to be.
Anytime you get a Stone, shout out to Stone Labanowitz, former FCS quarterback doing some ESPN radio stuff. But Stone at linebacker to me is always a get. You know, you go whether it's Stone Cold Brian Bosworth or whether it's Michael Stonebreaker, remember my former Notre Dame linebacker back in the day. Stone Blanton coming in. They also brought in Kendrick Bingley Jones from North Carolina. So shout out to Drip Tona. You're giving some talent away to the SEC. Cornerback Montre Miller, who was good at West Virginia last year, he transfers in. Iago Brumfeld coming in from Memphis, and same with Travion White, and punter Zachary Haynes from New Mexico State. And White was a good corner. Yeah, I mean those Memphis guys did play a lot. So going right up the road and getting those guys. What do you make of the I mean, there's no way they're going to be as good as a year ago.
No, you got a couple other guys missing the other safeties, Isaac Smith and Kelly Jones in the secondary there. No, they're not going to be as good. Lane Elliott, what's up, C Block? But it's going to be it's going to be a work in progress, as they say. So they're going to have to try to outscore some teams, as they say. Yeah,
and we're gonna get to the win total and talk about what we expect from them this season. Go game by game on the schedule, but first, I want to tell you that you're listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and make sure you check out our new daily podcast, The Daily Dog, a new 10-minute episode dropping Monday through Friday. Get the Daily Dog wherever you get your podcast. Also, the Circa announced they're just giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes for Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. And Scumbagger Vance already, aka your own CJ Sullivan here, it's already loaded up. He already gassed up the fucking car and got out to Las Vegas in 120-degree heat, sweat bubbling off his ass, and he goes out there. How was that, buddy?
It was great. Went out there just for the day, business trip, 9 to 5, punch in, punch out. Got in there, bet on a baseball game to pay for gas, which I actually used for futures. Put down a big parlay on the you can follow the Road to 10 Million documentary that's coming out. But I put a little parlay on there on the Celtics and Panthers. We're halfway there on both of them. So, and we're gonna pay for all the tickets, and then pretty soon we'll be shipping $16 million.
There we go. So sign up in Vegas and play from anywhere with footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP to get $50 off. Once again, that's footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8's now live for the NBA Finals. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. And look, they have college football. They got UFL action currently, where you got the championship game over there. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part is you can win up to 325 times the amount you enter. And you can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. Sign up, and when you do sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, the win total sitting here at 4.5. You kidding me? They haven't had a 4-win season, so I guess they had the COVID year where things weren't. But they only played an SEC conference schedule. You got to throw out the COVID year. There's no fans. Stark Vegas can't be rocking. Besides that, it makes me think they haven't had a season like this since like Sylvester Croom or something when they lost to the Maine Black Bears in the FCS. Let me take a look. But what's your first reaction to that?
That's a low number, that's for sure. And when you look at the schedule and then you look at the number, you see like, well, I think they could be able to clear this easy. And then you see that it's actually even money to juice to plus money for the over. And you're like, okay, well, what am I missing here? You know, then you take a deeper dive and you see, well, things could be bad. So I don't know. My initial lean, just looking at it, I want to I like the over just because I know they pad themselves with some non-conference in there. They just got to win a couple, you think, real games, and you can get 5, no problem.
So in one way, it's good. You get more games against the SEC East,
right,
which has been the weaker division of late. But at the same time, you got Oklahoma and Texas coming in. It's hard to get a gauge there. To win the SEC championship plus 70,000. You jump over there and sprinkle that bet, detective. No.
What was that? No.
Are you gonna sprinkle any chance to win the SEC championship?
Oh, to win the SEC, those futures. No, I do love these. I love all these numbers that are coming out though. I love how the conference numbers are pay out way more and are more difficult to get than a national championship because of this 12-team playoff. You know.
Yeah.
National championship, sure you can get that. SEC, yeah, no chance in the world. You fucking getting that. Especially with this road schedule. Like I said, we'll get into the schedule now.
Well, no, I couldn't even find the 12-team playoff odds. I'm sure they'll be out at some point. But,
right.
Check for those. Obviously, if they could go, look, if they're calling for 4.5,
I bet it's around 100 to 1 get them to the playoffs.
Maybe 9 and 3 will get a team to the playoffs. I think an SEC team to the playoffs.
Yeah. That's ambitious for this team. But if on surface, I think they can get themselves to a bowl.
It'll be see. Let's go. Let's dive
I know
into
you're not as convinced about this.
Yeah,
I love it. All right, let's get into
it. Because
here we go.
August 31st. Oh boy, you got the Colonels coming to town. Now I'll say this: I feel like these FCS schools have a really hard time with that Lebby offense.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, man, Eastern Kentucky gave Kentucky all they could handle. I think it was the last year or the year before. I'm pulling it up right now. 28-17 at Commonwealth Stadium there in Lexington, and that shit was like 21-17 in the fourth for a long time.
All right.
Now,
come on. They're not going down to Starkville August 31st. Lebby's first goddamn game.
I'm just saying, what better time to catch a team is when they're breaking in a brand new coach, brand new system. Remember, they were grounded pound last year, brand new roster.
Okay.
I'll still take Mississippi State.
Yeah, we'll take Mississippi State.
I'll still take Mississippi State. And since let's go Hail State.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at a couple of these non-conferences, but we'll get into it here. So let's go 1-0 Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah. And,
Feach, we hear you. We've been talking about this Egg Bowl on Black Friday. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's horrible. Week 2, they're heading to the desert to take on Kenneth Dillingham's bunch, the Arizona State Sun Devils. Critical game here. This is a winnable game to them.
Yeah.
But it's also winnable for Arizona State. I thought Arizona State looked a little bit, Dillingham's first year a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought towards the end of the season they were playing a little bit more competitively. The buy-in was a little bit there. I got State winning this.
I did too.
No, I'm saying I got Arizona State winning this.
Yep, I do too.
Okay.
I can see Mississippi State winning this. This is a game Mississippi State needs to win, especially if you're on the over. I mean, they need to win all these non-conferences. That's a tough one. Imagine that's.
This is like a field goal spread. It's a 50-50 game, but I'm going to give a little bit of edge to.
You know what? Arizona State usually takes a while to get going too. Sometimes they're a mess. Give me Mississippi State in this game.
All right. There we go. I got them 1-1. Bet Detectives got them 2-0, and then
I got them 2-0.
I'm curious where you're going to go on this one because the Toledo Rockets are coming in town now. They did lose DeQuan Finn to Baylor, but they did have, he had been injured, dinged up, so they do have some experience still at the quarterback spot. But Toledo was a 11-win team a year ago that should have beat Illinois. They almost went 12-0 in the regular season. They really fumbled that Illinois game out the gate, and they didn't lose another game in the regular season. Dangerous game here, but I'll put it like this. If they beat Arizona State, they're going to lose to one of these non-con games. I think.
Okay.
I got them beating Toledo here though. So I got them 2-1.
It's tough. It's definitely a tough spot because you got a sandwich game here. They're coming back off Arizona State. And Florida coming up next. It was a big conference opener at home with the Cowbells. I'll get to that when I get to it. But yeah, you're either with this team or you're against it. I want to go ahead and say they're 3-0. Toledo coming up for setting up for a huge
biggest game on the schedule to me.
Yeah, I love this game
because it dictates the future of this team. It dictates, Billy Napier's might be fired if you don't win this game, right? For Florida. They're hosting the Florida Gators on September 21st, and I do think it's their most important, other than the Egg Bowl. I would say it's their most important game of the season.
Yeah, already on the hot seat.
Just because I think if they get this, there's a great path for a bowl game. Like I said, maybe they're 3-0. I tend to think they'll drop one of those non-con games, but you get this, and then you really got life and momentum. You're 4-0, and then you got home games against Arkansas and A&M and UMass left and Mizzou. You got the Egg Bowl still. That's, those games are always wacky, so you could potentially still win that. But this is the hardest game too. Like I'll favor Florida because I think they're in better shape with a veteran team, but I don't think it's by much. I think it's Florida by like by 3 or something.
Oh, for sure. This is not hard for me. I love this game. I think this is the big. I won't barely even call this an upset. I love Mississippi State in this game. I think the Cowbells are going to be going crazy here. The conference opener, the new era, the Jeff Lebby opener. He's going to have something for this pretty mediocre game. I mean, they're similar teams to me, if you ask me. One's on the way up, one's going to be on the way down. Yeah, I like them to beat Florida first. Looking at their conference schedule here, just in the overview, they got the games they want at home. The games on the road, they're going to get blown out anyway. So who cares? You know what I mean? Like if your Georgias, your Texases, you don't want to waste those home games on them because the games are going to lose, they're going to lose big. But the toss-up games, they have them at home, and I think that in Starkville, and this is exactly where you want Florida. I think they start out to a 4-0 start here, probably 3. I mean,
I would love it if you were right. I just feel like Florida's in year 3 in Napier. They're actually the more desperate team. Lebby's kind of playing with house money, which might give them the edge because sometimes your team is super tight. But I think Florida is in a better spot from a roster standpoint right now, especially in September. This game was in November when Lebby has it more figured out and the players understand what he wants a little bit more.
Right.
I think it would be more winnable. Well, it's still winnable though, because Florida's been a disaster under Billy Napier.
Florida's a mess. I'm not afraid of Florida coming to town.
Then the final week of September, they head to Austin, Texas to take on. I please win this game, but I gotta favor the Longhorns there. But I'll tell you this, man, Texas's pass defense was fucking horrible last year, and Lebby and them, they throw the fucking ball around, man. So hey,
oh for sure. I mean, I'll be looking over on this one, that's for sure. But I don't know if they won't have to beat Texas.
So I got them sitting there at 2-3 at the bye week. Whew.
2-3, is that true?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so you haven't losing to Florida. Yeah. Not me. 4-1 and sitting pretty.
Yeah. Shout out to Damani in the chat saying he's excited to see the Lebby offense.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I've always wondered, and this is a conversation probably for another day, but I've always wondered why like Vanderbilt or Mississippi State or especially now that that you've added A&M, you've added Texas and Oklahoma. they should go. One of these teams should go triple option, just because they would fuck with those teams, man. They would really fuck with those teams. After the bye week, they are at the Georgia Bulldogs. Shout out to Greg Sankey and them, giving them at Texas, at Georgia, at Tennessee, and at Ole Miss. All projected to be 10-win teams or 9.5, 10-win teams. Fucking insane. They're not going to win this game. They're going to get fucked up. And
they will not beat Georgia.
And unfortunately, where I feel like Texas A&M could be winnable, not after the body blow that is Georgia.
I agree.
I got A&M taking them down on October 19th, and man, I got them.
I agree. I wish for them that you maybe could be able to flip this Georgia A&M schedule. Have A&M off the bye, not Georgia off the bye.
Yeah,
and then A&M off of Georgia. A&M is beatable, but they won't. After this is just a tough slate back to back after Georgia. So I'll take a loss there. So now we have them at what, 4-3?
Yeah, I got them at 2-5.
2-5 for you. All right, 4-3 for me.
And an interesting when Arkansas comes in, I don't even know if Sam Pittman will be coaching this game. And I saw Sven saying that this is the most important game of the season. I'll tell you this, whether he's coaching or not, I actually think Arkansas will be better this year than last year. I know he's saying they don't have KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders. They brought in Talon Green, and to me, they brought in the X Factor, Road Rash Face, aka Bobby Petrino, which I think will open up this offense. And I think some of the running backs they got the kid from Utah coming in. I think Arkansas is actually going to be better this year. It's still winnable because it's in Starkville, and Arkansas will give you a lemon. But I'm taking Arkansas, man.
Right. Well, this is another one of those pivotal games. This game and the Florida game, if how it's going to make or break their season, if they're going to get to a bowl, if they're going to get to where they need to be, which is 6 or 7 wins. I think they can get this game. I think after back-to-back losses, they rally around, get back-to-back home games, and they beat a very susceptible Arkansas team.
I'll say this: there's a chance if they fire everybody by this point, Arkansas, they could just quit.
Knows?
They could just quit on the season. So it could be much more winnable than it. I mean, not that I don't think it. I think it's still winnable right now. It's kind of a toss-up game.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Arkansas's roster is a little bit better than Mississippi State's right now, and that's the deciding factor to me. Then the UMass Minutemen in their classic rivalry game.
Classic rivalry. Got to keep that tradition going.
Dude, you pull up UMass's schedule. They got like 3 or 4 SEC games. It's fucking hilarious. With SEC in their 8-game conference schedule, it cracks me up because I think they've played like 12. I had this number stored somewhere. I don't have it in front of me, but it's like they've played way more SEC teams than like because of the 8-game conference schedule. Like A&M's played Tennessee like once in 12 years. Meanwhile, UMass has played like every team 3 times. I'll take this is Lebby's win here. Takes down UMass.
I should hope they beat UMass at home.
Yes, and that's their 3rd win to me. Then they head to Knoxville. Nope.
No Knoxville. Although I mean, little Josh Heupel revenge actually was on the staff with Heupel, but no, they don't have enough to beat Tennessee by far.
Sven says in the chat, "What did Petrino do in College Station? Nothing." But I'd like to push back on that because Jimbo Fisher's a control freak. He didn't give him the reins to run the offense. I think Petrino will be fine, with being the main play caller. Jimbo Fisher's an offensive. Sam Pittman's an offensive line coach. He doesn't know shit. He's going to say, "Bobby Petrino, you run the offense, Bobby. All right, and give me one of those motorcycles. All right." And Petrino, I think, will be. His offense will work. I think, given time, at least for points.
Yeah.
So you got them going into the second bye week. Remember, every team's got 2 bye weeks.
Double bye, yeah.
Yeah.
Double bypass.
Yeah. Look, I want to hit those final 2 games in a second here, but before I do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience, Hail State Style, is brought to you by Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, you need to download Rhythm. That's RITHMM. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in a matter of seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team full of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning their algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel a little more confident in your picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll through some sports book. So what are you doing, folks? Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, Major League Baseball. And with which makes getting tickets even faster and easier than before. And look, prices on Game Time's app actually go down the closer you get to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, and the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So what are you doing, folks? Hop on over there. Take the guesswork out of that with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, we are back on the college football experience. Hail State, we're in the middle of going through the schedule, and after the second bye week, this is this is why I'll push back on any bozo that thinks the 12-team playoff is a mistake. They say that it's going to devalue the regular season. I completely disagree. I think it's only going to make the regular season more valuable because you have spots like this. Missouri and Ole Miss are both going to be playing for a playoff spot, I think, at this point, right?
Yeah.
What before, we love the Egg Bowl. There's always a real motive behind it, but how great would it be to see Mississippi State ruin Ole Miss's season or ruin Missouri's season, but specifically the Egg Bowl? The stakes are so much higher now. The fuck you potential is even greater. You know what I mean? Like before it was like, yeah, they're playing, but Ole Miss and Mississippi State were never like fringe national championship teams. So the game had meaning because they hate each other. But now you add in the fact that you can derail their entire playoff season or, playoff hopes and kind of ruin their entire season. It makes for much better regular season, in my opinion. But any chance you're taking it, I'll tell you this, man, by the time November rolls around, I do think Lebby will have that offense rolling. And I do find it interesting that in November, he plays both of his former bosses, Josh Heupel at Tennessee, and then Lane Kiffin, both away games. You got to win any of those? I think they could upset Missouri.
They're both winnable. They're both losable too. I mean, Missouri, they could definitely upset off the bye. Missouri's better. Obviously, it's it'll be easily their toughest home game, other than them and A&M. They could get them. I don't think they will. Egg Bowl, anything can happen in that game. Obviously, throw all the records out the window.
Yeah.
But like you said, and they will be playing spoiler alert, so they can get one of these two.
I'm going to say they get one of those.
All right, there you go.
Because I just feel like Lebby, by the time first-year coaches, not only Lebby, but first-year coaches, by the time they get to November, I feel like your teams kind of know they start to know what you want, know what to expect. And I feel like you're almost in year 2 by that point. And you kind of see it with a lot of first year coaches where they'll go like 3-9 or something. You saw Arizona State almost should have knocked off Washington last year. Dillingham's first year, right?
Yes.
Terrible pass interference call. And then the next play is a pick 6, which Washington prevailed off of that. But my point is they were getting chippier as the season went along. And that's why I think Hail State will get one. I still have them on the under though. I think they're looking at 4 wins or 3 wins. This season.
There.
I do have them at 4-8. Yeah.
My only pushback of Lebby and the team rolling towards the end is their lack of depth, and that could come into a factor as the season gets really into the deep waters.
Well, and let's be honest, his quarterbacks maybe not at Ole Miss, but when he was at UCF, what happened? Injuries to their quarterback.
You're right.
What happened at Oklahoma? Injuries to their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So there's that risk with Jeff Lebby running the hell out of the quarterbacks.
It could be a problem. It could be a problem by the get 10. So I have them losing both these games, Missouri and Ole Miss. But I still have them at 6-6. So I already gave them 6 wins. I have them coming out the gates 4-0.
He's got them bowling. He's got them bowling in Stark Vegas.
And that's when they'll rally and they'll get a nice season momentum winning bowl. Yeah, nice. What is the Las Vegas Bowl? You think you're going to give him? We'll pencil him in for?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Out there to the Bahamas Bowl. All right. No, but Las Vegas Bowl, something like that. Because that's what. I feel like that's what's been the 6-6 SEC teams. Wow, Bet Detective feeling pretty sound with the over. I think the under's decent play too, because I think that schedule is brutal. I mean, hilarious that they get out of the SEC West. They draw Florida from the SEC East, Georgia from the SEC East, Tennessee from the SEC East, and Missouri. Now, Florida is the only one that I think your eyes could say we can steal this one. The other ones, you're just like, fuck, man, we're getting the 3 best teams from the SEC East, and then you throw in an at Texas. So in a way, I almost feel like the breaks haven't been shown. I think eventually, maybe next year, the year after, they'll get a more favorable SEC schedule. I'm on the under. I feel decent about it. Would you bet this one?
Yeah, I would. I feel good about the over at 4.5 because if you look at it from a total, yeah, all those tough games are tough games. Like I said, their losses are going to be big losses, but it doesn't matter. It still counts as one loss. No wins. If you look at it from a distance there, the 4 non-conference games, I mean, you hope to go 4-0 there. Obviously, the risk of not doing it with Arizona State and Toledo back-to-back, but pretty good chance of going 4-0 or 3-1 at the least there for those 4 non-conference games. And if you do that, then you only need 1 or 2 other games. And now you're throwing the coin toss there with Florida, A&M, Arkansas, Mizzou, and Ole Miss. You need to get 1 or 2 of those games, and I think it's very doable.
I'd love to know the last team that went bowling that only returned 2 starters.
Yeah,
that I know it's a different age of college football with the portal and everything.
Completely different.
Yeah, but
did you see that? Did you see that meme I put in the thread there? By the way, that went viral there of the Jeopardy question.
Oh yeah, that was great.
What's a portal and a head fucking?
Check that out.
Head Dabo.
Check that out if you have not seen that.
Amazing work.
Yeah, very, very just quality work by the good people of Jeopardy. Folks, that's our show. Make sure you check out the old Bet Detective. All right, CJ Sullivan on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _. The Bottom Line Bombs podcast goes
Bottom Line
live.
Bombs. Sven, I want to see you subscribing to that. I need some Germany drop ins on my show.
There you go. You're talking German soccer sometimes, right?
Goddamn right. I took Germany into Euros plus 550. Let's go.
Woo! There we go. Get on over there. Subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. Also, I see Robert jumped in on that too. Yeah. Check out the UFL gambling podcast and the sports gambling podcast as well. And for me, give me a follow on Twitter at TCE at the Colby D. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. YouTube.com/the College Experience. You can watch it. It's better to watch than listen, in my opinion, because you got the sweet graphics. So hop on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. I also host the FCS College Football Experience, which you should check out. FCS football is, the heart of college football. Yeah. And also check out the Stadium Heads podcast I do with Michael Barker, where we talk the history of college football, the history of all these stadiums, and what makes college football the greatest sport on the face of the planet. Hop on over there, check it out. We talk about the history of the stadiums. We just did a piece on Mississippi State's history on their stadiums. It's fantastic. Check it all out. Stadium Heads podcast, and check out the Sports Gambling podcast. And yeah, can't wait. Can't wait for all this action. Can't wait for the season. I think it's going to be the most interesting college football season in my lifetime. So, folks, until next time, this is the Hail State 2024 season preview episode. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Give that coaching tree. Yes. That's nice. We can really run and shoot, and